Hello everybody, my name is Brandon. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today with my October 2020 book haul. So these are going to be all of the books that I grabbed last month in the month of October. So I will say that my book haul this month is notably smaller than it has been in the past because I just haven't been book shopping. I am at the point now where I really need to unhaul just like literally if I unhauled probably 150 books, then I might have enough space for all of my books to actually fit into my bookshelves that I have up in my attic space. But at this point, there's just books everywhere, laying on the floor, stacked, 2 deep, 3 deep sometimes. It's overwhelming how many books I have. I don't know why I keep buying physical books, but here I am. I still do. And I think it's mostly just because I enjoy doing it. I love going to the thrift stores. I love going to secondhand stores like Second and Charles, things like that, and just finding cheap used books because that's just something I enjoy. So because of that, I don't see myself ever stopping, buying books, but do keep in mind that my book hauls might be a little bit smaller moving forward than they were earlier this year, which is probably better because that means that these videos can be shorter. But that said, I do have about a dozen books to talk about today. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you guys what I ended up finding last month. There is some thrift store hauls here. There is some Second and Charles hauls. I think one of these is from the Dollar Tree. And I said Second and Charles. I meant Ollie's. I do have a couple graphic novels from Ollie's to talk about. So lots of things to talk about today. So let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right in. The first set of books, and frankly the majority of the books I'm going to show today, are all from various thrift stores. So they're either Goodwill or Salvation Army. I actually found this other one that was close to me. I found that recently, and so there is one or two from there as well. But what that means is that I spent about 50 cents on each of these books, so super cheap. So first up we have from Louis Ruby. This is called The Doll Graveyard. So this is a middle grade horror book that looks right up my alley because it is based on, at least what I can gather from the back, it sounds like it is living dolls, which I am all about. Obviously, I've talked about it multiple times in my book hauls, how much I love living dolls, and so I find them super creepy. So I'm hoping I will enjoy this one. So I've never heard of this one before, but hopefully it'll be a good find for the 50 cents I ended up paying for it. So Louis Ruby's The Doll Graveyard. I think it's either Lois. It's probably Lois Ruby, The Doll Graveyard. Next up is a junior novelization, and you guys know I love collecting those. We have Star Trek Nemesis. This is the junior novelization, and this one was written by John Vorholt, who did a handful of the other junior novelizations for the Star Trek series. I think I own 3 or 4 of these now, so I am starting to get a small collection of the Star Trek junior novelizations, which frankly started by mistake, but here we are now. I keep coming across them for super cheap, so I'm going to grab them. And what's really fun about these junior novelizations is that in the middle of the book, they have these pictures from the actual film. And so that's just cool to see also. I enjoy these. So the junior novelization for Star Trek Nemesis by John Vorholt. We have another junior novelization, this time for the family film, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, written by Stasha Deutsch. So this one is, of course, the sequel to the original Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, which is a film that was based on a book. So it's made full circle. It was originally a book adapted into a film, then a sequel was made, and then the novelization of that sequel. So I love that it's come full circle. And if I remember right, I believe the original book that this is based on was it was a picture book intended for much younger readers than this novelization likely is. But yeah, this is, I've seen the first one. I thought it was fine. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I loved the book when I was growing up. And so I'm interested to check out this second one. But again, I probably won't read this until I actually watch the film, if I ever get to it. Honestly, this is just one that I have in the collection to have it in the collection, so we'll see if I get to it. But yeah, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, the junior novelization. We have another novelization here, but this one is intended for adult readers. This is The Core, and this was adapted by Dean Wesley Smith, based on the screenplay by Cooper Lane and John Rogers. So this is a movie that I honestly don't believe I've seen. I may have seen parts of it before. I remember seeing the trailer for it and things like that, but I don't think I ever actually sat down and watched the entire thing. So, and it's one that I've decided with my novelizations that it's probably best to watch the movie first and then read the novelization if I'm interested. So that's what I'll try to do here. But this one is just a big action flick, kind of in the vein of like something like Volcano or Dante's Peak, I believe, Armageddon, something like that. So I tend to enjoy those movies, so I'm hoping that this one I will as well when I get around to it. So we have the novelization to The Core, written by Dean Wesley Smith. I'll show these two together because they are film related, I guess I would say. We have two autobiographies. We have Nerd Do Well by Simon Pegg, and then Tough Shit, Life Advice from a Fat, Lazy Slob Who Did Good by Kevin Smith. So I am a huge fan of both of these people. Simon Pegg, of course, from things like Shaun of the Dead or just the Cornetto trilogy in general. He is hilarious and amazing. Kevin Smith, one of my favorite directors. I, of course, fell in love with him with Jay and Silent Bob. And The Clerks was probably one of the films that I would claim as like my favorite film way back when. After the first time I saw it, I just loved it. Kevin Smith is fantastic. Simon Pegg is fantastic. So I'm very interested to see how these autobiographies are. I will most likely go with the Kevin Smith autobiography first, just because I think his is probably going to be just a touch more interesting because he does have that directing background. So I'm very curious to see there. But Simon Pegg's, I'm sure, is going to be hilarious also. So very cool finds. And these were both at the same store. So I'm guessing they came from the same person's collection because they're very similar. So Tough Shit by Kevin Smith and Nerd Do Well by Simon Pegg. Two film autobiographies. I will also group these three together because they are all part of the same series. And it's funny, I actually found book 1 and book 3 from one thrift store and then book 2 at a separate one, which when I show them to you, you'll see why, you see how you can tell that because they're clearly from different people's collections. So we have Percy Jackson and the Olympians, books 1, 2, and 3. So we have The Lightning Thief, which you can see is quite a bit beat up. And then we have The Sea of Monsters, which is book 2, which looks brand new. And then book 3, The Titan's Curse, which is also pretty beat up. So you can definitely tell they came from different collectors or different collections, but that is totally fine by me. I've been really interested in reading these lately, so I was so happy to find these for so cheap. So books 1, 2, and 3 of Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson series. So I know this is a super popular series, and many of you probably read this when you were much younger, but this is one that I just have never gotten around to. So very interested to check out the Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, and The Titan's Curse from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. And I think I'm only missing one of these books now from this series, and then I'll have it complete. So very excited to dive into this. So we have books 1, 2, and 3 of the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series written by Rick Riordan. So those are all the books I found from the thrift stores. Now I have one that I found from Dollar Tree. And this is one that I actually was turned on to by the Books and Lala booktube channel, and she hated it. But it sounded interesting and it was only $1, so I figured I'd give it a shot. We have Stags, written by M.A. Bennett. So this one is about basically it's like a secret society thing, which is one of her favorite things, which is why she ended up reading this, but like I said, she didn't like it. But it is a very wealthy private school. There is this group called the Stags, and we are following somebody who gets basically an invitation to join them for a weekend, and it turns out that it is going to be one deadly weekend, according to the tagline here. So, I don't know, it sounds interesting, and it was only $1, and frankly, I couldn't find anything else at the Dollar Tree that day, so I was just getting frustrated, so I said, I'm buying this, because I want something from my efforts. So, I picked up Stags by M.A. Bennett. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read this one. Is it worth my time, or did I just waste $1? Let me know down below. All right, so we're down to the final two, and both of these are graphic novels that I was able to find at Ollie's. So you know I paid very little for them. I think the first trade paperback was $2.99 most likely, or $3.99, and then the other one was just like $4.99 or $5.99, very cheap. So the first one we grabbed was Daredevil Back in Black, and this is volume 1 called Chinatown. So I don't know anything about the series, and frankly, I've never read any of Daredevil in comics, and so I'm super intrigued to check this one out. I'm probably showing you now, but the art style on this looks really well done. I like, it's very, it screams comic book style to me, which I really enjoy. And so yeah, I'm intrigued. We'll see how this one is. So we have Daredevil Back in Black, volume 1, Chinatown. And last but not least, this is a big graphic novel here. So this is normally has a sticker price of $44.99, which you can see there. And like I said, I believe this one was like $6 or so. This is Wolverine, The Return of Weapon X. So I have not read the original Weapon X at all, but this was just too big and good looking to pass up for the cheap price. So I ended up grabbing it. I am very intrigued to see how this is. I love the character of Wolverine, and so I'm sure I'm going going to enjoy this one, even if I don't fully know the entire history of it. Hopefully I can pick up enough along the way to enjoy it. So very intrigued. Look how thick this one is. This is just a big chunky book, which I love. So this one, let me see what this contains. This contains Wolverine 1988, numbers 159 to 176, and annual 2000 to 2001 written by Frank Thierry and Matt Nixon. So yeah, man, this looks really cool. For the price, this is just such an awesome deal. Ollie's is the go-to shop for inexpensive graphic novels. If you're not too particular about needing a specific one, you can get lucky and just find some really cool things that you didn't know you wanted. So that's what happened with me here. So this is really cool. Wolverine, The Return of Weapon X is the last book that I grabbed in October. All right, so there is my October 2020 book haul. So it was an admittedly lighter month than normal, but for me, that's an excellent thing. And I think the thing I'm most excited about is that I was able to find the first 3 books in the Percy Jackson series, just because I've been wanting to start that for so long now. So I can now do that. But let me know down in the comments below, what did you pick up last month? Anything cool? Anything worth talking about? And let me know what you would recommend out of what you've seen in my pile here today. So let me know down in the comments below. I'd love having more of a conversation with you guys down there. As always, if you guys did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to Cinefessions here on YouTube. And if not, thank you anyway for watching this one. I really do appreciate that. And as I always say, I don't just talk books. I talk all things media, be it books, movies, graphic novels, video games. If it's media related, I'm interested in it. And if you are too, you might consider subscribing. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for today. I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.